Greetings, dear precious spirit soul, divine being. I recognize and realize who you are. I know who you are. See, when you don't know who you are, you're always trying to prove who you are, or prove who you think you are, or all of that. My topic: this is not all that is. This is not all that is. When you take a look at, if you had like an artificial intelligence of some kind, whatever, what does that mean? It means a digital reality of some kind. Pixels, numbers, pixels, sound, all this kind of thing. And if you entered into that, like a lot of people do, like through their games or whatever, they're putting their consciousness into this artificial reality. And it's for the mind. It's just the mind. And see, what happens is people get bored with themselves because they don't know how to go into themselves. And so they have to be doing something with the mind all the time. So like entertained, or at night they'll sleep with some radio on or something, but they're being programmed that whole time. And then there are people where they're living flashing lights, blue lights, yellow lights, white lights, noise, sound, smell, boom. What that does, it blocks the person's inner knowing. And it keeps a sense of anxiety and fear. I remember when I was really first starting to tune into my being, don't ever stop, because there's always a more. That's where a real more is, of your own beingness, your connection with the divine, our source, our partner, our beloved, each other, you see, who we are. And ourselves as each a whole, complete person. So, but we're taught and told that this is it. And you're going to leave your stuff, and your stuff is it. And somebody else is going to get your stuff. And then I don't want them to get my stuff, or get my money, or get my stuff, so. And this is this mindset that gives the outer is the power or the source of your survival. Survival is a very depowering word, because as if you have to survive, but you're eternity itself. So it's basically the survival of the physical reality, this 3D reality. So when you see what an artificial intelligence would be, it obviously would be dependent on a programmer, a creator. And then you could say the creator could then give the artificial intelligence more power than they did, but you can't give that power ultimately to another, because it's yours. It's who you are. And power is that ability to operate, I guess, to whatever people think that is. So we're then taught this is all there is. Movies and story, past lives. I mean, because I've gone through many past lives, because it's all there in your time. It's all there in the memory. You see, I did a lot of work like that. Whether it's mine or somebody else's, it's still there in the memory, because your subconscious doesn't know the difference between real or pretend. You do. That shows you're not your subconscious. You're not the unconscious. You give the label of conscious, but who you are as a divine being of consciousness, with consciousness. But these are still words, and words can never explain or ever portray or be the absolute truth, because that's you. That's absolute truth. And there's the absolute personification of that love and truth we would call the divine, that we are part of. So when we're always saying this is it, and it's always we get so programmed on this that we're so sad we're going to lose it. And yet everybody's suffering and struggling except those who, but they are even more than anyone. Anyone who is a controller of anything is controlled by that which the person is controlling, because they become part of their oneness. They become part of a unit. Just like the police need the criminals, and the criminals need the, I mean, it's games, it's all this stuff, you see. And it's so complicated because this gets very complicated and gets more complicated all the time, and more diseases and more names and more, medicines, and then more technology, and it's bigger and better and it's smart and it's this because you're dumb, and it's all on and on and on. And the person said, and then we're running after it and going to get it and afraid and got to keep the cell phone on, got to be texting, got to get into it, and having no idea. None. That this is not it. This is not it. This is not what's going to give you the satisfaction, the fulfillment, the divine pleasure that you are seeking, because you're a pleasure seeker, because pleasure is your nature. So then they go for limited 5 sense gratification or physical pleasure. It's transient. You see, and here physical pleasure always turns to pain. Always. You see, it's back and forth all the time. And then in the pain, there'll be the pleasure, because it's like some people, their whole deal is, well, I'm a martyr, or I'm a, I struggle, I do so much, nobody really ever really appreciates me, and because how could they? Because you're looking for appreciation, acknowledgement that you even exist. Because you don't know who you are. You see, listen, this is what we've been doing. So breathe into your heart. Take a look. That's not it. You're it. Mm-hmm. And that pleasure of the soul that you are seeking is right there now. Without anyone or anything. Without any even changes. Just in a moment. Breathe into your heart. And get used to it, because you are an eternal being and you cannot die. But you can forget by agreeing to forget. You can look at all the agreements and contracts that we've been making throughout whoever knows, because we're not in time, but are operating now, that we may be unconscious about. Of course. Bring that up to consciousness. See? And then you realize you've never had a thought of your own. All those thoughts are already there. And it's not about what you think. This is what you think. This is what you know. Yeah. Now I invite you. You want some teaching, want some counseling, working with you, mentoring, spiritual healing, whatever it may be, you can email me, or you can go to the website. Really important, valuable opportunities. Yeah. If it is to be, it's going to be up to you. Yeah. And all is possible to you. Yes. Now,